Hanukkah, the true story, a memorial of a temple made flesh and a new covenant. Traditional Hanukkah temple dedication involves lighting the menorah over 8 days, celebrating the supernatural replenishment of oil in the temple menorah, lasting 8 days, and also miraculous victories over the occupying forces of the oppressors, the Greco-Syrian forces, under Antiochus IV Epiphanes, a Greco-Syrian Hellenistic conquering king. Although according to Jewish custom, Hanukkah is a minor festival, today it actually ranks with Passover and Purim as one of the most beloved Jewish holidays. Remember this, it will be very important later. It commemorates the rededication of a temple that was defiled and now no longer exists. It commemorates miraculous events and a rededication, a normalization of temple services. But the question must be asked, can anything normalize a defiled temple? Was this truly a miracle? And if so, what is the meaning to us today? And also importantly, did Messiah attend and sanctify this festival by not speaking against it? Also, if Apostle James was correct, as according to his letters, all 12 tribes were still in dispersion in the nations, so who was officiating in the temple? Some serious questions need to be answered here. Why was a defiled temple and likely a corrupted priesthood given miracle victories and light in the temple? The answer is our Heavenly Father is in control. He who scattered Israel, always planning to bring them back to himself. This involved a handover and a change of priesthood, symbolized by a scepter, as in a court, judgment having been pronounced upon the temple by Messiah himself. The goal being a new temple, not made by man. While some scattered groups of Israel may have returned to the land, great error had entered their doctrines. They followed a doctrine of Pharisaic Judaism, in which positions of importance were traded and purchased for personal gain. They ceased to care about the truth and began to follow tradition, giving importance to rabbinical laws and customs, allowing pagan practices to enter their doctrine, and while they forgot the importance of the true law of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, Yahweh. Messiah came back to establish the new covenant through being born of a virgin into the lineage of King David. Though, as the original Melchizedek, he was without genealogy himself, entering history through the kingly line of a woman, a virgin, Mary. His coming was foretold, including that the scepter or authority would not pass from Judah, the remnant returned Jews, until Shiloh, Messiah Yeshua, comes. Messiah came to establish a new covenant. He came to abolish Levitical priesthood and to establish his headship as the high priest, the king, our Messiah, and his bodily temple, a spiritual temple to replace the old. Messiah spoke at the temple. Messiah did not attend dedication at the temple. he admonished the Pharisees, "You are not my people. You do not listen." He was telling them that he is the shepherd, not them. He was taking back the scepter. How could he attend a dedication with an illegitimate priesthood officiating? He was there to convince them of who he was, but they rejected him. It's unfortunate that people claim he didn't speak out against religious authorities when he clearly did. They were trying to kill him for what he said. He rejected them completely and utterly. Messiah declares he is the temple, John 2:19, and we are the temple, 1 Corinthians 6:19. And so to recap and answer the questions posed, Messiah Yeshua has been given all authority, the scepter, and now he, as the head, and we, as the body, are the temple in which the Creator chooses to put his name. It was always with Yahuwah, his plan to regather Israel into a new covenant with a new priesthood, the Melchizedek priesthood, into the bodily temple of Messiah Yeshua, our King and our High Priest. The temple in Jerusalem became an abomination to Yahuwah, but he allowed it to continue until the advent of Messiah. The transference of priesthood at the baptism by John the Baptist of Yeshua was the transference of the priesthood, sealed forever by Caiaphas, the illegitimate high priest, tearing his priestly garment, annulling the priesthood and the Levitical priesthood Aaronic order in front of witnesses. Messiah declaring that the temple would be destroyed. Mark 13:2. Please also read Mark 11:15-19, Luke 18:10-14, Mark 12:38-4, and Ezekiel 10:18-19. We cannot rededicate a defiled temple that no longer exists. Messiah gave all the opportunity to join his bodily temple, where the Shekinah of the glory of Yahuwah now resides. They refused him, denying his headship, choosing instead to continue in rebellion of a temple service which, since ancient times, had ceased to be the temple of Yahuwah. We cannot partake of this. We cannot, not having the authority, dedicate the defiled and destroyed temple, knowing that we deny Messiah if we do. He is the temple, the perfect living temple, where Yahuwah places his name. We cannot rededicate perfection. And we remember the Jews' love of Hanukkah. They glorify in a priesthood that was long since corrupted. They love their traditions so much that this festival rivals Passover, as we mentioned. Yet even still they refuse to accept the only legitimate temple, Messiah Yeshua. The Jews showed great courage in defense of the temple, and a remnant will certainly be saved. Yes, he still loves them, and so should we. And it is waiting for any who are willing to return to him, to call on his name. But sadly, they choose not to do this. We can pray for them. They will hopefully one day be redeemed and forgiven. But to us who know this is sin, we will be judged. We cannot celebrate anything other than the Messiah's perfect sacrifice. This applies to all believers in a risen Messiah. We cannot celebrate the rededication of a defiled temple without Yahuwah's Shekinah. However, we can remember Yahuwah's mercy to the Jews, Messiah's perfect sacrifice for us, the establishment of his bodily temple, and the history as a memorial of the past generations, seen through the eyes of Messiah. We can pray for the Jews. Making Hanukkah a memorial of Yahuwah's mercy. Yes, the Maccabees experienced a miracle from Yahuwah. In fact, there was many miracles, but it was to preserve the Jewish people in the land until the advent of Messiah Yeshua. At that time, the religious Jews were invited to follow Messiah by Yahuwah's grace and mercy into a temple of eternal spiritual significance. They chose and still choose not to do that. For this reason, we can celebrate the mercy and the miracles our Heavenly Father did at that time. We can even encourage their bravery to stand for Yahuwah, but we cannot agree with the dedication of a defiled temple when Messiah clearly says that he, John 2:19, and we, 1 Corinthians 6:19, are the temple of Yahuwah. Hanukkah is not mandatory, but if we choose to keep it, if you choose to keep it, it should be a memorial and a prayer for the Jews. Pray for them that they will return to their first love. They will come back to Yahuwah and his Yeshua, his salvation, Messiah Yahusha. Shalom.